I would like to thank Level Up Games in South St. Paul, Minnesota for having us this week. Phone number for South St. Paul is 651-493-9176. Address is 207 13th Avenue South in South St. Paul, Minnesota 55075. They have been very courteous in allowing us to record here. Next time you're in South St. Paul, please stop by for all your Magic, Pokemon, and comic book needs. Hello, and welcome to the Major Up Podcast. This is the Week in Comics. Sorry it's so late, but I had a lot of things going on this week, including the 4th of July holiday and going to a Twins game. But here we go for Batman number 26, The War of Jokes and Riddles, Part 2, Star Wars number 33, Walking Dead number 169, Daredevil 23, 7 to Eternity number 7, Deathstroke number 21, Defiance Part 1, The Avengers number 9, Secret Empire 10, DC Bombshells number 30, Snot Girl number 6, The Beauty number 16. That's the end of a story arc. The Return of the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina number 7. This is Witch War Part 1 of 6. Bane Conquest number 3. Secret Empire Brave New World number 3. Skyborn number 4. Baby Teeth number 2. Motor Girl number 7. Doctor Who The Ninth Doctor number 14. My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, number 56. Sacred Creatures, number 1. Predator Hunters, number 3. Aftershock Comics brings us Unholy Grail, number 1. Sisters of Sorrow, number 1. Doctor Who, The 12th Doctor, Year 3, number 5. This is the first story arc to feature the all-new TV companion, Bill. Bloodshot's Day Off, number 1. War, Orgasmageddon, number 2. Failsafe, number 3. Croak, number 2. Zodiac Star Force, Rise of the Fire Prince, number 1. Doctor Who Ghost Stories, number 4. Grim Fairy Tales, Day of the Dead, number 6. Jim and the Holograms, Misfits, number 1. Lady Mechanica, The Clockwork Assassin, number 1. Kim and Kim, Love is a Battlefield, number 1. Van Helsing vs. the Werewolf, number 1. Claudia and Rex, number 1. Doc Savage, The Ring of Fire, number 3. Oniba, Swords of the Demon Hunter, 3. Skull Island, The Birth of Kong, number 3. Casper, the Friendly Ghost, number 1. After Eden, number 1. Robin Hood, The Hunt, number 1. Pillbox Chicago, number 1. Time and Vine, number 1. Popeye Classics, number 60. Justice Inc. The Avengers, Faces of Justice, number 1, from Dynamite Comics. Gumby, number 1. Hanazuki, Full of Treasures, number 1. Skylanders, Spyro and Friends, Quarterly Full Blast, number 1. And now it's time for our review. Just like last week, I'm going to do two reviews of trade paperbacks that I've read. The first one is called Avengers, Time Runs Out, trade paperback number 1. For the story, I gave it 3 of 5. There are many pre-Secret War characters that muddles the story as you read it. In fact, some of them, unless you have read other events going on, you might not know who they are. There's just too many stories crammed into one book. Some of these stories would be better told in a solo book miniseries or in a third title, because there was Avengers and New Avengers that included in this, and the story was just very hard to follow. The art is 4 out of 5. There were too many artists on the 2 books, and it kind of made it feel like it was all over the place. All the art works together, so there's not a gleaming hole in the trade paperback, but sometimes when you have multiple artists, the art goes from one style to another and back to another, and this one it kind of melded together, so it wasn't really hard to follow. Accessibility, 1 out of 5. Unless you're a total Marvel fanboy from that time, you probably wouldn't understand what's going on. There's too many smaller stories that are crammed into it with the bigger story going on. It's not something for novices to read. So overall, I gave it a 3 out of 5. The great art, plus the Hickman writing, makes this a must-have for Marvel fans. But for casual readers, I probably would do better with another book, and I probably would stay away from it. But if you're an actual Marvel fan, I definitely recommend picking this one up. It's pre-Secret War, so it has a lot of storylines coming to a head right before Secret Wars comes out. Another book that I read out of my comfort zone was Rebirth Batgirl, and the trade paperback was called Beyond Burnside. Now, story, it was a 5 out of 5. I picked it up, and I've read Batgirl before, but this was a totally different Batgirl. The story itself is self-contained, and it keeps the reader reading. It really makes me want to read art 5 out of 5. I'm not usually a fan of Raphael Albuquerque's art, but I know a good artist when I see it, and his art is consistent, and having one artist on a whole entire storyline / a whole trade paperback is a plus in my mind. So I would totally recommend getting this because the art is consistent, it's good, and you don't question what's going on. For accessibility, a 4 out of 5. It's like all the other DC books, always has continuity. It even has a couple one-off lines about her being Oracle, which is great because one of the characters says, "Oh, the last time I saw you, you were in a wheelchair," and that's pretty cool because Oracle is a long-forgotten character, and it's kind of sad that they took her out of the wheelchair and put her there. But I think that it's great they replaced her with the person that's in charge of her company is in a wheelchair, and I think that helps with the gap in the character. But if you knew nothing about the last 3 years of Batgirl, you can even enjoy the story. It starts a new arc, and you don't really have to know much to get excited about it. There is a character that is kind of the co-lead character in the story that you kind of have to know who he is, but you don't really have to. You just have to know that him and Barbara, that's Batgirl, had a past together, and it gets really steamy. Not steamy to the point where like teenagers couldn't read it, or tweeners, I guess you call them, couldn't read it. But it gets steamy as in they kiss. Overall, I give this a 5 out of 5. I don't read much Batgirl other than the Gail Simone stuff, which is dark and gritty and not for kids. But I would easily read more of this, and I'm kind of excited to get the next trade. I'm not a big singles issue with this kind of stuff. I would read a trade. Hope Larson knows the target audience that she's trying to tell a tale to, and I never really got into New 52 Batgirl after Gail Simone left, so this one picks up from that Batgirl, the one that became the trendy, hip, the new millennial type Batgirl that was like young and 21, I guess. They kind of made her hip and stuff instead of having a dark past like Gail Simone gave her. And I think this kind of blends the dark side and the light side together, and it makes me want to read more. And I would highly recommend it. It's really good. And if you have young girls that read comic books, this is something that you can get them for a present, or have them get it from the library like I did, and I think that they would enjoy it. So reviewing the reviews, going over the reviews, Avengers, Time Runs Out, trade paperback number 1, probably stay away from unless you're a Marvel continuity freak guy or gal. And Batgirl Rebirth, Beyond Burnside, that's trade paperback number 1 of the Batgirl Rebirth stuff. I definitely would recommend it, and it was a fun read. Thank you. Sorry for the lateness of this week, but I will see everybody later. Talk to you. See ya.